In this lesson we'll continue with producing working drawings. We'll carry on from our site plan. So basically what we've done here is we've actually rotated the house around on our site and given it the setbacks. You'll get more information on that if you want to go through the site plan lesson once again. What I want to do now is do a ground floor plan and two elevations. So if I come back to my model and just make sure everything is turned on, if it isn't, go to your view filter and make sure you're turning on what you want to see. Now come over to your worksheet, go to this button here, which is insert a model view, or basically under tools, insert a model view. Now what you see in this window is what you're going to get on your page. So basically just move it over, because I want to get the ground floor. I'm not going to worry about the road and the driveway. That's on another location called Siteworks, and I'm going to show you how to turn those things off here now. So the floor plan I want is the ground floor. I want to bring it in at 1:100. I want to bring it in as a drawing, not an image. An image is like going to be the ray trace or the coloured image, and when we bring that into our perspective page later on. Across here, if I go view filter, I can then click on that and turn things on and off what I want to see. Well, all these locations, if I've got stuff on them, which I have in such things as the slab layout and the Siteworks, I can go display none, and that closes all the eyes for all the locations. But then if I untick that and click on ground floor, I can go display all. So what that's done is turned on elements on the ground floor only. And then what I do is I turn the ceilings off, because they run additional lines around the internal walls that I don't want to see when they go over doorways and openings and so on. So if I hit OK, there it is there. I'm happy with that. Insert it. I tend to click down here and go for the pattern view, and that'll bring in the hatching on the brickwork, etc. Then go in insert. It'll whirl away for a few seconds or so, and then you can come and just drop that on the page wherever you want it to do. Okay, so if I come in close, you'll notice I've got the hatching on the brickwork, my windows and so on. The floors that are visible, such as the porch area, that's got hatching on it as well, because it was brought in pattern view. Now, if there's anything that you've got to change on this, if I touch it, you'll notice it's all green. It's a block. That's what a block is, and then we'll go through blocks a little bit later on in another lesson. I can explode a block, and when I do that, it brings it back down into individual lines and text. See, now I've touched that fascia. The layer on the side tells me it's a roof. The colour is by layer, the line type is by layer, and the line weight is by layer. I can now go and erase and change and do anything I want in here. So if I want to, that bed, which I shouldn't have had there, I can just delete it. That railing we use for the screening on that window, don't want it, just delete it. So you can go around and you can make sure everything is spot on for that floor plan. Even with your dimensions, once you come in here, you can grab your dimensions, click on the blue spot and move them around, or delete them because they become individual dimensions. So there's quite a bit you can do here. You've got the ability to draw a line, a polyline, arcs, circles, polygons, etc. And over here you've got your delete, move, rotate. So it does work a little bit different to the model area, but once you have a play around with it, you should be quite okay. So that's our floor plan. Now come across to the elevations. Now I tend to try and put these notes on where I can, so that I'm not doing it on every job. So basically, if that's not suited, I want to change that from concrete roof tiles to Colorbond, I just touch it and come over here to this little button here and just change that to whatever it's going to be and move your arrow in accordingly. So now what I want to do is I want to do exactly the same for an elevation. So I want to go insert a model view. Up the top here you've got your elevation tab. So if I pick on that one, I'll have elevations 1, 2, 3, 4, so you can work your way around and see which one is which. You can go and define this yourself, so it doesn't really matter. So that's my front elevation. If I just zoom a window around that, that's what I'm going to get. I can here, I don't need to worry too much about the turning the layers off, but sometimes you might want to get rid of flaws and stuff like that that you don't want to see. But what I also do here is I bring this in pattern view, and that will then see how it's hatching the roof and the walls as brickwork, etc. So you can bring it in there. Now I want to insert it as a drawing, 1:100, and insert that on my page. Okay, just drop that in wherever it's got to go, and there is your elevation. Now, one of the things I need to point out to you is in our ground floor plan, the roof lines are what we call hidden line types. Okay, now to find that out, down here are all your layers. There's all the layers here. If I go to the button beside it, there's all the layers. Alright, so I can now turn off and on exactly the same as what I can with my view filter, layers I don't want to see, or layers I don't want to select, or layers that I don't want to print. If I push this layer button, I'll then go into the bottom level of what I want. So if I type R for roof, there's my roof there. So the roof I've got as black. You can change that to any color you like. The line type I've got as set as hidden, and the line weight I've got set to default, but you can go and set whatever line weight you want as well. Okay, so you've only got the one choice of giving it one line type. So in plan view, that's what I want to see. If you're happy, you can change that and just make it a solid line, but I prefer to have it in the hidden line. The option that, what the problem is that causes is, as you can see, my fascia and my roof are also in hidden line. So what I do once I've got the house in the right position, I touch it and I explode it like I showed you before. Then I put what we call a window around all of the roof area there, so that just fully picks up all of the roof, and come over here to where it's got line type, drop that down and go continuous, and then that changes it. Okay, so it is quite easy, and then basically all you got to do is just go and move your notes. So I'll just move that one into there, and this one here, I'll just move that one from there to there, and basically we're pretty well done. So there's an elevation, there's a floor plan, right click, zoom to fit, and there's my site plan. Alright, so you just repeat that routine, insert a model view, you've got a 2D plan view, you can bring in cameras, but it's pointless. I don't believe in using that here because it's just a dumb render, it doesn't give you shadows. You can bring in any 3D point that you want to view. You can bring in your elevations. I've got them set to 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just take you and show you where they are. And you've also got your sections. So there's no sections found, but if there was, there'd be a section 1, 2, 3, and 4, or sections, whatever you want. Now, as far as the elevation number, as you can see, I've got a little elevation key here. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. If I come back to the model, underneath this button here which says cameras on off, if I touch that now, that appeared, which is my front camera. I can double click on that and that brings up the front view. I'll come back to my 2D plan view. If I hit the camera button again, my camera disappeared, it's being turned off. Well, underneath that I've got elevation marks on off, section marks on off, and animation marks on off. If I go elevations on off, so there's my elevation 2, 1, 3, and 4. You can double click those, and there's 4. You might want to give that north. You can change that, you can give it any name you like. Alright, you can also under here create a new elevation. So you might say, well, okay, I want an elevation from this point and I want to look in that direction, so just take your ortho off. Now I've got another elevation looking at it at an angle. Come back to my 2D plan, so touch that elevation mark and delete it. If I touch this button to turn off my elevation marks, it turns them off. If I go to section marks and turn those on, I can now go and create a section, and I might say, okay, I want a section from there through to there, and I want to look back in this direction. So there's my section. So section 1, you give it any name you like, and then that is what you go and use your insert model view, insert it on the page, and then just detail it up a little bit more than what it is now, because the more information you put into it, the more detailed it will be here. So if I zoom in, say on those cupboards in the top, you'll see there's my cornice and my ceiling sheet and my cupboards, etc. So it is as detailed as what information you put into the model itself. Come back to my 2D plan view, and you'll notice the section mark is gone, but if I click on here, section marks on off, there it is there. Touch it. If you don't want it, delete it. There's nothing stopping you again. Similar to your elevation, take your ortho off and put a section through here on an angle. So you can do any section anywhere you like, any elevation anywhere you like, to have full control over it. So that in this lesson should now cover how you get your model to your worksheets and set them up as site plans, floor plans, elevations and sections, etc. Thank you very much.